in this text, the idea that I want to tackle is the idea of space. The mental and the physical idea of space. In this text, Baldwin makes more than a few references to space, the physical and the mental aspect of space. So what I've done this go around with the Baldwin and Friends, some of these people have actually been armed with the text for a couple weeks. Some of these people have been actually armed with the questions as well. And the reason being is because there are certain ideas that I want to come out of this conversation. There's some certain driving points that I want to make sure are hit. Keith always presents like some amazing questions all the time, and one of the critiques that he has, like these conversations are great, dope. But then what? Right? And so the people who I've chosen, educators, lawyers, journalists, rumor spreaders, shit talkers, whatever y'all want to say it. These are people who I'm hoping that will take this conversation to the next level. You guys understand what I mean? This is the third year that it's happened. So this is the year that's like, let's see some instrumental, influential change. So for those of you guys who may have been armed with the text already, or anybody who's familiar with the text, how does Baldwin talk about space in this text? Or your understanding, whether it be physical or mental?
Well, I think for me, one of the most important uses of space was the space in between things, from Harlem to the village, and what that transition meant to leave your life of being the oldest brother of 9 and finding a space up a stairwell that a friend of yours led you to, that opened a whole different world to you, and moving within those spaces and sort of the absence of one for the other.
Betrayed.
Yeah, so that physical placeness of it was something that stuck with me.
So, in building off of that, you said something that I thought was key, trading the space, right? In order to get from one space to the next, you give up a space. And so what are we giving up? What space are we giving up to pursue this next space? And what does that next space mean for us? Particularly as Black people, marginalized people. And I think that, I don't know that the question was ever really answered. And I don't know if it was supposed to be answered, but that's, to Barnes' point, I'm always, at the end of these conversations, I'm always asking, what's our call to action?
And to speak on that, he really focuses on the inheritance of space and what our duty is as those who previously occupied those spaces to pass down those safe spaces and those opportunities, and our duty and obligation of inheritance. So we're not always going to be given this space because of the society that we're in. It's malicious, it's intentful, but what are you doing in your day-to-day profession, in your day-to-day life to make sure that there's a space open up for someone to come behind you and move a little bit more freely than the 2 gates that he felt he had, well, really 3 is, go to college, be a pastor, or die, and that's it.
I mean, I think that's very key, right? It wasn't so when you think of space, it's not like you have people think about you say space, it's your surrounding or your proximity. But what he was also saying was that he was afforded more real estate, afforded more space, right? And he was afforded land in order to cultivate and grow his crops and actually discover who he really is, find his true being. And I think that's prime for anybody, especially minorities, right? We are not afforded these options. In order to grow the crops that we need, in order to survive, we need the land, we need the space. So we need those who are going to give us, these plots in order for us to harvest and discover who we are and add on to the conversation.
So I got you. So I want to establish the norm real quick. I am, as of now, fully a part of the conversation. I'm not any different from any of you guys who don't know anything about this text or who have read it, who've been given this text ahead of time. I'm a part of the conversation, okay? I also want you guys to talk to the point, so confirm, well, no, not confirm. So challenge and extend. We've actually switched up confirm because in conversation with Mally, confirm and extend, they tend to mimic each other. So when you hear something, a point that someone's made, and you want to speak to that point, you extend the points. You know, you give a note. I want to extend on it. You want to challenge your point. If something just doesn't jive with you, I want you guys to be prepared to do that. But also, this new thing that we're thinking about is the question. So if there's something that someone is saying, or something that, like, you really just don't get, I don't think that the conversation should continue to go around without everybody being clear about what's on the table. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so.
Just to answer Keith's question about the call to action, what I took away from the text was the idea of having the right to be in the space that you choose. You know, even just on a personal note, even Barnabas inviting me to the circle, I said to myself, oh no, I don't belong in that space. Because I was also gatekeeping. Because I thought, you know, I'm not African American, so I don't have a right to speak on space from the African American perspective. But then reading more and investigating the text more, my call to action and what I've taken is that, yes, I have a right to be in whatever space there is, and Baldwin affirms that in the text, that we can choose the spaces we want to occupy, and we can put our foot down and say, yes, this is where I belong for now. Next week it may be somewhere else. And I thought that was determined.
Yes, ma'am.
Building on what both of you have said, the concept of earning resonates in my head right now. The concept of earning your space, call to action, but what you do and how you go inside to figure out how to be outside in whatever spaces you transverse and traverse. And it relates to the concepts always of responsibility and love.
Does anybody, just addressing those 2 points, does anybody feel that it's a cost or trade to enter that space?
For me, I think this addresses all of it. I think, you know, as a black person in America, you can easily forget that there were these brilliant black people in the 1800s writing about their experience and their collision with European thought in its full swing. And when we start, language is very interesting because it means different things for different people, even the same word. So for me, what was really interesting about reading someone with such intellectual integrity and density is that our concept, us even approaching the concept of space through a European filter, puts us in a very strange position in that in certain regards your nervous system has been tweaked so much and to such a degree from physical and spiritual and mental things that have been done to you that you begin to, you're at a point, are you controlling your narrative or are you just having a counter narrative? And I thought that his understanding of space really, for me, posed a question for myself in that I have to make choices on a daily basis. And those choices are a realization that I am a part of a brutal, diabolical space for this world to exist. And I have to make 1,000 or more decisions a day about how do I want to participate in it or how do I want to militarize or think radically about it, if that makes sense.